radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
All right, good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio for the masses. Yeah. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? All right, let's do this. Today's Tuesday, February 19th, 2019. 50 days into the new year, just 315 days left. We are live, as always, from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking? How you doing? All right. All right. Tonight, yeah, we had a little emergency right before showtime tonight. David Icke had to reschedule for next week. No big deal. Look, I was just as excited as anyone to have David back on the show with us, but some things are just out of one's control. And there you go. So he had to reschedule for next week. He is on his way to Australia, and which was one of the reasons to bring him on tonight was to tell everybody, hey, David Icke's coming, and we're going to give away tickets and do all that kind of stuff. But it just got away from us. So there you go. But he'll be with us next week. And I was just like, okay, now we need to have a guest tonight that is David Icke worthy. What do we do? And the first phone call, the first person that popped into my head, Jason Quitt. It's just like, we got to have Jason on. That's, you know, and I gave Jason a call. I said, hey, man, okay, I'll tell you exactly how I started off the phone call. This is no joke. This is today. Jason, we've been friends for a long time, right? What do you need, Jimmy? I was like, man, I need you on the show tonight. And he said, no, I can't. Tonight's Ike night. I swear on all that is holy. He's like, tonight is Ike night. What are you talking about? And I told him what was going on. And he said, absolutely. I'm so there. It would be an honor. And so Jason Quitt is with us tonight, and who was probably going to be on with us in a couple of weeks anyway. And so we've got Jason on with us tonight. Always a great conversation, and let's have some fun. Okay, tomorrow night, pretty big show tomorrow night. I've been waiting for this show for a while. We needed the right people to represent. Tomorrow night, we're going to do the Q Army with In the Matrix and Shady Groove. That'll be tomorrow night. And although we have talked about Anon and Q on the show quite a bit, many guests have brought it up, and I've asked as many questions as I could. We've covered it a lot, but have we done a full show? No, we haven't. And there's a lot of reasons there for it. And going back to different subjects like Q over the years, sometimes I just don't have the time that is needed to invest into certain things. And Q is one of them. I mean, oof, right? Well, you've got to bring on somebody that knows what is going on. And that's why we have In the Matrix and Shady Group. Been waiting for the right representatives for Q. And there you go. So that will be tomorrow night. Really looking forward to this show. Thursday is our 1,000th show. And it is on a Fader night with open lines all night long. And what a way to celebrate something like that than with all of you. So that's when those dates were lining up, and we were seeing where it was falling on, and that hopefully there wasn't going to be any mistakes or any natural disasters, something that was going to delay the timing of that. But everything just went the way that it should, and Fader Night is now our 1,000th show. And it just couldn't be any more perfect. So that'll be that. I'm going to give the heads up a little bit. If you are going to be at the Conscious Life Expo, and if you're going to be there Thursday, we're going to arrive after the show Thursday night. We're going to head straight down to the Hilton. So there you go. Okay, so if you're going to be at the Conscious Life Expo Thursday night, let Rita and I know. Come and find us. I'll definitely be setting up our booth. That's my job. I'll be setting up our booth Thursday night. I could use some help. I understand that Frankie Four Fingers, who is my booth assistant every year, is not going to make it to Conscious Life Expo. So I need a booth assistant. I need a pair of hands, and somebody with 10 fingers. You know what I mean? Would be even better. I hope he's listening right now. Man, he is just so good. But anyway, I need a suitable. I need an assistant to give me a hand Thursday night. That'd be really great. I'm being serious too. I'm not joking around about this. We got a big booth. Okay. Where am I at? Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do first. At JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Kelly just said she'll help. Kelly, are you going to be there Thursday night? Come and hang out with us, and I'll make you a deal. If you can come and assist, I'll buy you dinner. Rita will buy you dinner. I'm going to stay at the booth. But that would be really cool. Yeah, thank you for that, Kelly. All right. Frankie Four Fingers. Okay. I'm in a great mood. I know we're all a little bit bummed about David Icke tonight. But I know what everybody was thinking. Well, okay. No Ike, but Jason Quitt? Yeah, I can work with that, right? So it's all good. I'm in a great mood. A little bit of stress. I was thinking because Jason's been over in Japan, and I didn't know if he was stateside, and I didn't consider anybody else. And thank goodness he had just gotten back from Japan, and he's over here, and he actually picked up the phone today. So there you go. And I owe Jason big. I owe Jason big. All right. Hashtag F2B on Twitter is the sandbox. We don't bite. Come and hang out with us. Okay. Any questions or comments during the show tonight? Hashtag F2BQ. You can also email throughout the show, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. We announced last night, let's get to the breaking news. We announced last night our latest, newest great sponsor here on Fade to Black, which is Surfer. That's SURFR, Surfer, that's Surfer. It's a new streaming music app. It's totally free, all of it. You don't have to sign up to download it. You don't have to give somebody your email. You're never going to get an email from Surfer. None of that. And you've got unlimited everything. It's totally free. Everything is there. They've got rock, jazz. They've got country and Western. They've got both kinds. Smooth jazz. They've got all. And I asked them, I literally said, okay, if I'm coming on board, I've got to have my heavy metal. I got to have my heavy metal music. They're like, okay. I said, just call it hard rock. Okay. All right. We'll do that. It was really that simple. And it's available, Google Play and the Apple App Store. If you click on the banners that we have over at Jimmy Church Radio, it's surfer.com, surfr.fm, not .com, .fm. And that'll just take you straight to their landing page, and you just click one or the other, download it, done, and you're off to the races. It is the most amazing app, completely free, nothing. You can get your favorites all together. It's really, really, really cool. So check it out. It's what I use now. I'm all about the music. I'm all about the notes. Jimmy, do they have chamber music? All right, Scott. You really want chamber music? I think they added classical today. So are we going to do some classical subcategories? But classical was added today. Okay, so you've got to check it out. Surfer, surfr.fm. Banners are at Jimmy Church Radio. We've got it up in Twitter. We've got it over on Facebook. It's easy enough to find. Go and download it. And that will be your streaming service forever. It's that cool. All right, earlier today, an asteroid named 2013 MD8, measuring almost 280 feet in diameter and traveling at over 30,000 miles per hour, just missed Earth. That's right. And this week, we're getting 3 near-Earth object flybys this week. The near-Earth object made its close approach at about 15 times the distance between the moon and the Earth, roughly 3 million miles away at 12:55 p.m. Eastern Time. And it was this morning for us here in Los Angeles, and it wasn't considered a threat. When you look at the orbit and you see, and you, especially when you're zooming out and you're, it was close. I mean, that's really close. Really close. Too close for me. But, and if you think about it, any little thing that would have taken it off of trajectory, wow. Smoked meats. Who remembers the movie Club Paradise? Rick Moranis. Smoked meats. All right. Virgin Galactic will take to the skies again tomorrow, February 20th, if all goes according to plan. Virgin plans to perform the 5th rocket-powered test flight of its newest Spaceship Two vehicle. It's called the VSS Unity. And then it's going to be tomorrow morning from out here in Southern California, the Mojave Air and Spaceport here in Southern California, out in Mojave. Not that far from the bunker. And if you look on Google Earth and you see where the bunker is, you see where Burbank is, you see where Mojave, it's like right over the hill. Right over the hill. It's going down tomorrow. And remember, Richard Branson said he's going to space within 4 months, and that was last month. So he's got 3 months and counting on that. Today, a video was released with 300,000 new galaxies in it. Radio signals of those 300,000 sources have finally reached Earth, and most of them are previously unknown galaxies from distant universe. And more than 200 astronomers in 18 countries created a radio sky survey using the low-frequency array telescope, also known as LOFAR. The first phase of this major survey was published, and along with 26 research papers describing the results in the journal Astronomy and Astrophysics. Now, one of my favorite things to do is to take a Hubble image and blow it up, knowing that everything that you see there that you think is a star is actually a galaxy. They released this video today of a flyby through the universe, and you see the stars. And also they showed the mapping of the sky and what section of the sky that they were doing this in. Anyway, and you're doing this, and it's just, you think it's stars. It's galaxies, and if you go back to the old days and you think about, Galileo and Copernicus and those immediately after that, once they started to figure out how to grind lenses and use telescopes, and they're up there looking and they're looking all the way to Edwin Hubble, where they're just looking to the skies, and they had no idea. They just didn't. Thought they were looking at, single stars. And there were galaxies. It's just unbelievable. Well, some were stars, of course, because they were looking into our Milky Way. But those that were finding those little gaseous, they call them nebulae, those are galaxies, chock full of stars. It's one of my favorite things to do. And this video was released today. It's absolutely incredible to watch. And you can go and check that out. It was up in Twitter. I'll get it up during the break. I'll repost it. All right. And Rita and I are continuing binging the Umbrella Academy. We started it over the weekend. And it's time travel. And I don't want to, because we're closing in on the end, and we'll probably wrap it tonight after the show. We'll finish the binge. I highly recommend this series to all of you because the science behind it is really, really cool. It's funny at moments, very dramatic. I don't want to give any spoilers out on the Umbrella Academy, but just I will say this. It's shot like a major motion picture. Every episode is just edited, shot, framed. The casting is great. The storyline is great. And it's very, very deep, and I enjoy things that are complex. I like fluff. I do. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a time and place for that, to go light. But this isn't that, and it will keep your attention. So seriously, everybody go and check it out. It's on Netflix. It's called The Umbrella Academy. All right? Now, I just reminded everybody that this Thursday, Rita and I will be heading down to the Conscious Life Expo. It is going down February 22nd through February 25th. We are celebrating this year the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods. Eric Von Daniken's going to be there. I will be hosting the panel on Friday night. Starts at 7 p.m. The Ancient Aliens panel with Eric and Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell, Billy Carson, and Rabbi Ariel Bar-Zaduk. And the thing for everybody is you need to have separate tickets for the panel. I don't know if it's sold out, but it starts at 7 p.m. It's going to be an extraordinary weekend, and come down and hang out with all of us. And if you've never been to a conference like this has around 15,000 attendees. It's certainly big, but it's the LAX Hilton. So it's full to capacity, but it is so much fun, and to walk around and hang out with so many cool people. So you definitely want to go and hang out with us at the Conscious Life Expo. Tickets, everything you need is at consciouslifeexpo.com. Right after that is the Contact in the Desert in Indian Wells, Palm Springs, California, May 31st through June 3rd. And that is at the Renaissance Indian Wells Resort and Spa. Tickets and info, contactinthedesert.com. Of course, we're going to broadcast on Friday night. Saturday night, I'll be hosting the awards dinner. And you want to make sure that we have all Fadernauts in there. That's what I want. So go and get your tickets for the awards dinner. That is on Saturday night at contactinthedesert.com. And then coming up is our 2019 Soul Tech Conference over the July 4th weekend at Sunrise Ranch in Loveland, Colorado. You can sign up for tickets and info right now, soultechgathering.com. All right. Let's see. Don't forget, subscribe to our podcast. just $2 per month. And starting this Thursday, I will be, well, it'll be on Monday, actually. On Monday, I will announce that we have over 1,000 archive shows right there for just $2 per month. Right now, we have 96. Today is 97. Or is today 98? Tomorrow's 99. So today, 997. That's right. You can also become a Fadernaut over in our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. I was watching Twitter over the last couple of weeks. Hey, man, where did we get the shirts? Where did we get the hats? Hey, I want the. Go to jimmychurchradio.com. Go to the store. You can order T-shirts. Go to the membership section, and you can get the Game Changer. You can do whatever you want, but if you get the Game Changer, you get a shirt and you get the hat, and I autograph them both. Okay, so the hats are only available for Game Changers. Don't ask me for hats. Nope. As a matter of fact, go to the Conscious Life Expo. This is what I want you to do. Go to the Conscious Life Expo. Come up to our booth. Whip out a Hunsky, $100 bill. Whip it out and say, I want a hat. And I'm going to say, can't do it. Don't have them. Got to order them. You got to get a Game Changer. When you see somebody wearing a fade to black hat, that is somebody that is a game changer. And that's how you get the hat. So go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Let's get this show cracking. I'm ready. Got Jason Quitt down here at the bottom of the hour. So right now I would like to say happy birthday to Smokey Robinson, 79 years old. But Dad, it's Smokey. Yeah. Seal today is 50. Oh, what? Seal today is 56. Jeff Daniels today is 64. And no. Jeff Daniels, great actor. Newsroom. That's all you got to say right there. Jeff Daniels. Change my mind. Jeff Daniels today is 64. Benicio del Toro today is 52. And Benicio, one of the usual suspects, one of the greatest quoted lines ever, at least for me, in cinema. He'll flip you. He'll flip you right out, man. He'll flip you. Benicio del Toro today is 52. Great actor. Funny dude, too. On this day in history, OTD 1878. The technology that made the modern music business possible came into existence in the New Jersey laboratory where Thomas Alva Edison created the first device to both record sound and play it back. He was awarded U.S. patent number 200,521 for his invention, the phonograph, on this day in 1878. Fader fact. You think about that. Without Thomas Alva Edison, you couldn't have gone through the 70s and 80s with the double album, Open That Baby Up, read the liner notes. And you remember how lucky you were if there was something on the sleeve and you took the sleeve out and the sleeves were printed on both sides. Maybe there was a poster in there. Those were the days. Man, I remember the Chicago album. I forget which Chicago album it was. The one with Saturday in the Park. And that had that big poster, man. I had that thing on the wall with Terry Kath in it. And can't do that these days. You can't look at your kids and go, did you get a poster with that download? You can't. There's something wrong with that. Something wrong with it. But on this day in 1878, we still are very thankful for the 1970s. That was brought to us by Thomas Alva Edison. Fader fact. In 2016, okay, I want you to listen to this. In 2016, Eugenia Quida recreated her deceased best friend in an AI-based chatbot by collecting his social media history and text messages. And that is a Fader fact. Tonight, very special guest filling in for David Icke. Jason Quitt is here. Tomorrow night, it's the Q Army with In the Matrix and Shady Groove. The show's a long time coming. It's going down tomorrow night. And, of course, Thursday is our 1,000th show. Now, I wanted to clarify a couple of things that I had said last night about the flat Earth. And one of my comments was last night how flat earthers could go against and not even think about all of those throughout history that lost their lives and literally put it all out there to prove that the earth was round. Right? I mean, put it out there. And I started thinking today, would a flat earther do the same thing? Would a flat earther go to prison for life to prove that the earth was flat? Do you get where I'm going? Do you get where I'm going with this? To go to go to prison, to lose your life, to get beheaded, to get burned at the stake. Right? Everything that went down about that, all the heresy and oh man, the earth is at the center of the universe. No, it's not. It goes around the sun and its orbit is round and it's the planet, death. Okay, but I know I'm right, but I'm not going to change my mind. Well, would a flat earther do the same thing? Would Mark Sargent or any of those guys, Mark's a nice guy. I'm not picking on Mark. But, I am. Would Mark Sargent or any one of those video creators, would they go to prison for life? Would they put it all out there? Same argument, same thing. The world, it's a conspiracy. The world has been lying to you. The world is, everybody is against you. Everything is a lie and is against you. So are you willing to fight for that? Are you willing to fight for it? Would you go to prison for life? Would you go sit in the electric chair? Dude, I'm going down, man. I'm going down. Earth is flat. Yeah, man, inject me. Would you do it? I mean, would you do it? Would you throw yourself in front of a moving train to avoid going to prison over the flat Earth? No, you wouldn't, because you know it's round. It's a big difference. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. Seriously, it's a real issue. Countries have fallen. Men have died. People have died. Women have died for science. Are you willing to go and do the same thing? There you go. All right, I'm out of here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, standing in for David Icke. Last minute, and we had to bring in the A-team. Had to. Jason Quitt is here. I am your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Jason at Jason_Quitt with 2 T's. Yeah, he messed that up for you. Jason_Quitt with 2 T's. I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right. Welcome. How you doing? How you doing? Follow us on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. Got a interesting poll going on. That's right. A private chat on the website, JimmyChurchRadio.com, or Twitter. Okay, so the poll is up now. There's reasons why Rita is asking this. And Rita just said, I don't get it. I don't get to vote. But I did. Can't we have both? There's reasons for it. So go and snap onto that poll. Okay? And Rita just posted it up right there.
And let me get this retweeted, Rita. I will do that now before I bring in Jason, because this poll is important, and it's there's reasons why we are asking. Okay, so and for something like this, for a poll like this to pop up asking this, well, I want everybody to scratch their head and wonder what's going on here. But we are always looking for the very best for the Fadernauts. Okay, so there's a reason for this. Boom, done. Okay, I got it retweeted. It's right there. And just click on that, and you'll get to the poll. Click on Rita's thing. There it is. Okay, all right. It's up, and it's retweeted. All right, so standing in tonight, Jason Quitt. That's right. He's a graduate of the Institute of Energy Wellness. He's a student of the Algonquin shamanism and has been training and working with many teachers, shamans, and traditional healers from around the world. He's also the author of Forbidden Knowledge, Revelations of a Multi-Dimensional Time Traveler, The Egyptian Postures of Power, Ancient Qigong System, and the Yusuf Codes, Sacred Geometry Mandalas. Tonight, we're going to discuss the doorways to the paranormal and altered states of consciousness. Gotta welcome back to Fade to Black our good friend Jason Quitt. Jason, how are you, man? Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me on. And, I was going to be listening tonight to David Icke, so I was going to be here anyways. So I hope I could fill in that spot perfectly for you.
Well, it's so funny. When your response to, well, wait a minute, tonight is Ike. And I was like, that kind of rhymes. Tonight's Ike night. I was like, yeah, well, some things. So just thank you for that. And I'm not kidding when I say that you were my first and only phone call on this. And for everybody out there, if I've got to say we've rescheduled Ike, I need to back that up. And I got to back it up with Jason Quitt. No, you don't have to respond. I was expecting one, but.
Well, I just got back from Japan, and my nights are still kind of topsy-turvy. So I'm good. I'm up, I'm focused, and I'm ready. And I should be drinking some River Moon coffee too, but
Okay, well there you go. Thank you for the plug. Did you go and check out the game Go after you and I talked about that when you were in Japan?
I did not.
Okay,
I did not.
It's fascinating me. Go is really fascinating. You want me to tell you something?
Sure.
This is when it comes to Go. There's a stat with Go that it can't be applied to anything else on planet Earth. There's a stat, not chess, checkers, backgammon, any other game, any other thing, nothing, not any stat. There's a stat for Go that there are more moves in Go than stars in our universe. It's like some crazy. Right? And right when you get into that kind of zone, that kind of mindset, now that's a game that nobody will ever master. It's impossible, right? So it's a life of investment.
You actually see a lot of people playing this. And, I just Googled it to see some more information, but this is like 2,500 years old,
yes.
This game?
Yes.
And it looks like something similar that they used to play in Egypt. They have kind of things like this in museums. I've seen very similar things.
There was another game similar to that was released in the United States, and it was in the 70s. And I used to play it with my dad. It was called Othello. And now similar in that you have the little. You have the black and white pebbles, right? Mm-hmm. But Othello, each pebble was black on one side, white on the other. But you played it in very similar, and it kind of took off here in the United States, and I enjoyed playing it. But Go is a whole nother concept, and And now that artificial intelligence is involved in the Go world, nobody ever thought that artificial intelligence would be able to master Go, and it is now beat the world champions. And I'm talking about AI. Very complex game, and you're over there in Japan. I was just wondering, one of the things, you've invited me over to Japan, and if I will be there. When I do go, I want to go and check out people playing Go in real time. I want to go see it.
I will take you for sure, and I'll probably take you to. There's a lot of video game places, and there's a lot of cafes where you can sit with animals. I'm sure you'll enjoy that.
I know, yeah. Somebody, Dan James over in Australia, just posted this picture of Google's AlphaGo defeats the Chinese Go master. And there's a documentary, and you go, and I can't remember the name of the documentary, but it's about this tournament. And I got to tell you, he was so crushed. And when you lose a Go tournament to a human, right? And that's a crushing defeat. And you watch it because their lives are so invested in this game. And what they do with these Go players, we'll move on to the show, everybody, I promise. But Go is really fascinating. And what they do is they grab these kids, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. They go to a Go academy where they learn history and math, but they're also playing Go. Like, they're taken from their families and they're playing Go like 16 hours a day. And they are told that either you will be good enough to turn pro, by the age of 12, 13, 14 years old. This is not a joke, by the way. I'm not playing around. I'm not saying this in jest. And you will be professional by that age or not, right? That's it. And so they crank these kids out from the age, from 5 to like 12, 13 years old in these Go academies. And it's a way of life, man. It's not a joke. Go is a very serious thing. And I've watched all these documentaries, and I've sort of absorbed how the game is played. I understand the basics of it, but obviously I know nothing, and these masters are incredible. So I want to go hang out and watch one of these Go tournaments in real life. All right, so moving on. What is the latest before we get into our conversation tonight? You're working on a movie / series. You've got that stuff going on over in Japan. What can you showed us all the trailer, and we premiered it. What's the latest on that front?
Well, what we're doing right now is, because we have so much content, we're breaking it up into a series. So we're going to have, let's say, one episode which is about outer body experiences, and one episode about aliens, and one episode about, let's say, ghosts. So we have all this different paranormal experience type events documented, and what we're doing is we're shooting the experiencer, and we're actually going to do reenactments of what these people went through, and we're working with a really amazing CGI team. And I think when we Skyped in Japan, I showed you the project that we were working on.
Yes, you did.
And it's like the CGI is just it's at such a high level that I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of this work. So hopefully within the year, we could show something out into the public.
Right.
But, we are working hard behind the scenes and trying to make a really good product that really tells a lot of truth, that shows real events and real people talking about their experiences. And I think we're going to pull you in as well. And, you have to open up and tell us your experiences that you're hiding.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I it's an honor for me to be involved. And the exposure that I've had, looking at the studio, the team that is behind it, and the quality of work, and the stuff that I've seen so far, is way beyond expectations, and I'm very excited for the project, and just thank you for the invitation, and it's going to be great. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. So let's get this thing done, man.
And also, we're not going to forget the Soltech video that we've been working on behind the scenes, and it should be done very, very soon. So I will be sending you something first to review, and then we're probably going to put it out very soon.
Yeah, that Soltech, a lot of stuff went down that week. A lot of stuff went down. I mean, it wasn't just the sightings. It was the personal experiences. It was Bigfoot. It seemed like that Soltech conference. This is up at East Eddy Ranch, everybody, if you weren't there. It seemed like every minute of the day, all you had to do was point yourself in one direction and walk, and there was something happening, right? And it was nonstop from the moment that you woke up to when you went to bed at night. There was something strange and supernatural that was going down. It was just extraordinary, and we happen to have cameras rolling.
Yeah, and next time when we plan on going, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to set up cameras and have them shooting the mountain all the time and try to get some more of these videos because, James captures a lot of amazing stuff. And, I even took some amazing pictures of those mountains lighting up at night and ships kind of buzzing around that mountain. So anybody that really has a camera and goes out there, they're going to get photographic evidence of something. Absolutely.
Well, which takes us into some of what we're going to be talking about tonight. About doorways to the paranormal and altered states of consciousness and these locations around the world. These things are real, and certainly there's something going on up there at East Eddy, but it's not the only location, is it?
No, in fact, the whole planet has these stories. Traditionally, stories passed on from generation to generation talk about all types of beings, all types of phenomenon in the sky, ghosts, what we would call aliens. Like, this is not a new topic to anybody. And, I get I'm very lucky to be able to travel around the world. And when I go over to Japan, which I just came back, what fascinates me is that they have a whole, not only religion, but they have this whole history of ghosts and beings and these kami from the ancient Shinto, all these amazing characters that it's very, very detailed information. So if you get this type of haunting, they're like, okay, that's this type of ghost because of this emotion. You have to do this ceremony and it will be gone. So it's very scientific, and it's been passed down for thousands of years. So we kind of live in a world that kind of parallels with other dimensions, other beings that live or inhabit those dimensions. And I know we live in a very technological world, and I know that we're kind of, trying to live and have our jobs and our family, and we're not really focused on these paranormal things, but they are right here with us. And when we start to awaken to that, this whole planet changes. And I think that's a very powerful awakening that people go through, is to see that we're not alone on this planet.
Is there a society, is there a culture on this planet that doesn't have a doorway involved in their history? If you think about it, right? Rome, they've got the Illuminati doorway right there in the middle of Rome. We've got stuff all over Central and South America. These doorways, of course, Egypt, and over in England. Here in the United States, the cultures here. Is there a culture that doesn't have this in their history?
I think it's all over the world. And I'm trying to remember the name of the Japanese doorway, but I took a video of it, and they put up these amazing, beautiful structures. And when you walk into the temple, you have to walk through this doorway. And they say that when you walk through this doorway, you're stepping into another world, and you're going to leave behind the things that should not be taken into these new worlds. So there's this belief system of these doorways that exist all around the planet. And I really believe and have experienced this kind of opening into the other worlds. And this is what the book Forbidden Knowledge was about. And this is what I'm really kind of talking about when I do radio shows and lectures, because my background, I'll just tell the viewers that don't know who I am, my background is just a regular guy from Canada,
Right.
And I started to have these awakening experiences throughout my life. You can call me an experiencer. And these experiences happen my whole life, where for me, I see the reality of this planet very, very differently. So I'm trying to kind of express that there is this kind of other world right here with us, and ancient traditions, belief systems, and even these doorways that you're talking about that are found all over the planet, they are signs pointing to that at one point in history, we knew about these other worlds and we had communication with them. And in my research, something happened. You can call it the fall of Atlantis, or the Great Flood, or something happened on this planet where that was closed. And we forgot about it, or we were told, that's not for us to know, and we need to concentrate on something else for our evolution. But I think that because it's here with us, we are really starting to awaken to that fact, and more people are talking about it, researching it, and going to places like the sacred sites, like Iseti, to try to experience being in contact with certain divine beings, or what we would consider divine beings, or elementals, or spirits that are just outside that normal range of perception.
I know that you've done your astral projection and your time travel via your home, but have you had an experience that you could share with us where you're walking down the road or driving, where you literally went through a portal and you found yourself somewhere else, maybe the same street but a different time?
You know where it happened? It happened in Peru.
Really?
It happened in Peru.
What happened?
And I was on these tours in Peru, and you're going to all these sacred sites. And there is this one temple called the Temple of the Spiral, and someone will have to look it up. I don't remember exactly where it is, but it's just the foundation is there. And what you do is you walk in through the doorway, and you walk in a spiral until you get to the center, and you just stay in the center. So I'm walking with everybody else. So I'm in a group. We're all walking in this spiral. And when I get to that center point, it's almost like it felt like my feet went into the ground to my knees. Like it was shocking, actually. It was a real pull down of my body is what I felt. And I got, like, literally my consciousness got shot up somewhere, and I got so scared because, I only do this at nighttime when you're relaxed. I was not expecting this to happen. So I kind of jumped out of the center of the circle because, that was terrifying.
Was this in Cusco?
Actually, I think it's near Cusco, actually. Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. And it's kind of cone shaped, right? It goes into the ground a little bit.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look.
Okay.
There's also this island there. They call it the landing pad for the UFO. So there's this island that has a completely flat top. It almost looks like it's an artificial island.
Right.
And they say that's where the ships land. And if I go in my old photos, I could probably find that picture and post it later. But I think it's Moray. It's this big circle site.
Right. I'm looking at it here. It's crazy. Okay. So what happened? We've got 2 minutes. We'll pick up after the break. So what happened?
Well, it happened again in Moray. So I'm down at the bottom circle.
Right.
And everybody's just sitting and meditating and doing their thing. And I walk right into the center of this circle. and I just laid down in almost like in a cross, put my arms out to the side, and I'm just laying on the ground in the middle of this circle. And I start to feel this almost like this electric buzz. It was very strong. It started to come in through my fingertips, and it started to spread through my body. And once it got to my shoulders, and then it went into my heart area, my chest area, suddenly my whole body shut off. It went into this paralysis state, and it just shot me off again. So there are places on this planet that I would say induce these astral projection experiences. And trust me, I wanted it to stop. In fact, when this electrical current was going through my arms, I was actually trying to break the contact. I was trying to move my fingers and move my arms up to try to get out of it because my mind was racing. I knew that, okay, this thing is going to shoot me out of my body. I can just feel where this is going. So there's definitely places on this planet. And also the doorway in Peru. They have the doorway. What is it called? But anyways, they have a doorway there that they say they see beings walking out of this doorway all the time. And they see beings walking through this doorway all the time. So who are these beings? What are people experiencing and seeing entering these sacred sites? And there's a lot of these doors in Peru. I think more doors in Peru than anywhere else in the world, because almost every single site has one of these doorways.
Yeah,
and I think.
Also Richard Casaro does some excellent research on this. The three doorways, right? The three doors, and they are all they're everywhere. Of course, at the top of the Mayan pyramids, they're all over Egypt, and you go to these different megalithic sites all around the world. They have the three doors, right? And each one has got its purpose. And then what is above the doors, right? You see the Anunnaki wings, right? And you see these the wings that are above the doors, certainly signifying flying somewhere, right? That there is a purpose for this when you go through the door. There may be a ceremony, and there might be something else that is involved, but it was a doorway going somewhere.
And the secret is, and I'll give it away before the break, is this is what I was told and this is what I experienced, is that what they would do is they would leave their bodies. And once they left their bodies, they could now enter these gateways. So many people would go and meditate in these caves or these places where these doorways are, and then they'll have the outer body experience. And once they have that outer body experience, they walk through that doorway, and now they are in that other world, be it on another planet like a Stargate,
right,
or be it on another dimension of the Earth plane like a Shangri-La type city, a very advanced city that exists in our plane of existence.
When we come back after the break, I want to talk about some of the and my own experiences too, and yours. But this is something that has been talked about forever. And there are modern parts of this in our pop culture where the references are today, and you just don't know when this happens. And we'll talk about that when we come back. Our guest tonight is Jason Quitt. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas. Come join us for the 2019 Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. This year, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken, and I'll be hosting the panel with Eric, Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell, Billy Carson and join George Norrie, Nassim Haramein, Robert Schock, Daniel Brinkley, Grant Cameron, Julia Mossbridge, and another 50 speakers who will be presenting at the 2019 Conscious Life Expo. Just go to ConsciousLifeExpo.com for tickets and a full conference schedule, or click on the CLE banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Katie and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are also the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt, standing in for David Icke. For those of you that are here for David, Jason Quitt stepped up big. We're talking tonight about
certain locations on Earth. We're talking about portals and interdimensional portals, our own awareness, and of course, altered states of consciousness that may happen at these moments. And Jason, I don't know if you've noticed the pictures that are popping up on Twitter, and I invite all of our audience to go and post different pictures of doorways around the world that have been built to enter these extra dimensions. And when you look at something like Hayumarka, it's an obvious situation where that is a door that is going into a rock, right? That's a cliff face. It's to most people would say it's going to nowhere. Well, it's going to somewhere. And I'm reminded of a phone call that I got here on the show. I'm going to do the very, very short Reader's Digest version of this. But Fate or Not called in and said that they were on vacation out here in the West, and they went up. It was on a riverbank, and and the family was off to the side. She's by herself, and there's a plaque saying that across the river, it's certain, blah, blah, blah. There's this thing, and it happened in the Old West. And she's looking across the river, and she sees covered wagons, horses, fire, smoke, people cooking, activity. And she was saying to herself, wow, what a great reenactment, right? That just looks so real. So she goes back to grab her family and to come back and look at the reenactment. She looks across the river. They're gone. Right? Now, that's a situation where you have to ask, is that some kind of time slip? Was it some kind of portal that she, stepped in some kind of vortex? Her experience was real. It happened, but she couldn't show it to her family. And this is probably indicative of all of these other portals and doors that have been built around the world to mark these sacred spots.
Absolutely. And it also has to do with the geomagnetic field of the Earth, and also the solar wind of the sun. So that when the solar wind of the sun hits the magnetic fields of the Earth, it almost ignites these ley lines of this Earth grid. And when these ley lines connect, it opens these portals or these gateways. So sometimes when we have a very strong Schumann resonance, or we have things like a full moon, new moon, or solar spots on the sun, these portals start to open up on the planet, and things could be seen, like the listener. And I've heard these stories all the time. In fact, a very close friend of mine, and I think I shared this story with you before, is that they were driving to work like they do every single day, and they looked over, they looked through the car window to their left, and they saw this really old cemetery. And it looked like some medieval ancient cemetery. And he was like, wow, that's really cool. On the way back from work, I'm going to stop by and check it out. And he never noticed it before. So then on his way back from work, he went to that same spot and looked, and there was no cemetery. There was buildings there. And it really freaked him out because, he swore he saw it, and there was people with him too that saw it as well. So these things definitely happen. And you had Richard Dolan on last night, and you were talking about the new scientists that are coming out and looking at these amazing technologies that they're starting to hypothesize. And I'm thinking that all these amazing scientific discoveries that we're going to make in the next 20, 50, 100 years, they're going to be based off of natural, unseen phenomenon that many people are experiencing right now. And once we figure out why this is happening and how it's happening, I think that will be the key that's going to open up a whole new side of science.
We look at the different experiences that happen today, like mine. I've had my own things that I can't explain. But there are many, many experiences that have been archived on the web where people are doing just that. they're driving through a town that they've lived in for a long time, and they're driving down the street, and the school that was there is now gone, and it's replaced by a gas station, or whatever, right? And then they turn around and they come back, and it's all back to normal. All right, the school is actually there. It's not a gas station now, and what have you. There are experiences like that, and could it be explained away where these portals are mobile? Like you're saying, where it's a natural effect and occurrence, so you don't know when and where this could happen?
Yeah, exactly. And this brings to mind a story. When I was in Italy this year, they were showing us this bridge, and they call it the Bridge of the Devil, or the Devil's Bridge. And it's this beautiful ancient stone bridge that goes across a river. And the reason they call it the Devil's Bridge is because it wasn't there one night, and everybody wakes up the next morning and the bridge is there. It's just like this thing manifested into the world.
That's a good one. That's what I want to read further on that. The Devil's Bridge. Okay. Well, there's like the Moberly or Jourdain incident, which happened in 1911. One of my favorite stories out there, which these two girls decide to visit the Palace of Versailles as part of several trips that they were going on, and they're walking through the grounds there, and they heard like something going on and smelled something. They around the corner, boom, they're at this chateau on the outside of Versailles called the Petit or something, and they look, and there's a party going on. Right? Totally period party. And it turns out that mansion was empty. It was abandoned. They go back and they tell the whole story. We just saw this party, this thing, and it's another example of their experience was real. But what is it that they went through? Did they pass through something?
Yeah, they could definitely be walking through one of these highly charged, let's say, ley lines, which could be altering their state of awareness, where they can actually be seeing through time. And these cases just keep on happening. And it gets into this other thing, which is what we call ghosts or memories, where let's say there's a party or an event that has a lot of emotions to it. It's like a pivotal moment in somebody's life or many people's lives. And that memory is encoded into that space now. Like, let's say something even bad, let's say like the Civil War. There's many people that live on these properties that had battles of the Civil War, and, people will wake up in the middle of the night hearing battles outside, because these things, somehow the memories of these events get stored in these locations, and at certain times they get replayed. So it's almost like this ghostly interaction. Or it could be kind of like these time slip scenarios where you're actually getting a glimpse of the actual event, like that party. So you're seeing through time somehow through these portals. And it's not just the earth. The human body as well is a portal. It's a vessel of experience into this three-dimensional world. And you can use the physical body to enter into these other dimensions and worlds through altered states of consciousness as well. So there's so many levels to these type of experiences that I don't know if anybody's really documenting this stuff or even researching this area. It's so fascinating.
Well, then if we go back all the way to ancient Egypt, where not only the gods of Egypt and going to the afterlife and making that transition, this is something that they did. This was something that they pursued, and they prepared themselves for that journey. This isn't something that is modern pop culture. It sounds fun to read and write about, but this is something that has been going on for thousands of years.
And the Egyptians really did believe in the multidimensional human, and that the human was made up of many different bodies. You know, the heart was considered its own body, the mind, the emotions, the shadows of the body, the Ba, the Ka. There's all these layers that the Egyptians saw the human body, and that each one was given specific instructions on what needs to be done for that journey into the afterlife, because they always said that life was in preparation for the afterlife. And they also believe that you can become not only a god, but you can become an immortal being. They called them the Shining Ones. If you had a good heart, you know, you see the drawing from the Book of the Dead where they're weighing the heart against the feather of truth. And they're saying if you have a good heart, if you carry truth, and it's not heavy with guilt, remorse, and the things we carry from life, then you have a choice. You could either reincarnate back onto the planet and be a master or a god living in human form, or you can stay with the gods as well. And that's a choice that many of these beings had. But there was also these very specific rituals that would have been done in ancient Egypt, where they wanted to take the Ba and the Ka, these two different energy sources, and merge them together in a ritual after death, which creates the Shu. Is it the Shu? I'll have to look that up again. But it creates this new it creates the Ak, sorry. So it creates this new body called the Ak body, which means the Shining One. And then they believed that the stars in the sky were their ancestors. So that if you attain the highest spiritual level, you would become one of the stars in the sea of the universe.
Now, during that ceremony with the feather, right? Mm-hmm. That isn't in your control. You don't have a choice, right? Either you are as heavy as the feather or not, your soul, whether you are good or not. But you don't. Do you have a decision to go back into the real world and correct things, or that's the decision that is made for you, right? They put the feather on the scale.
Well, the heart itself was its own consciousness, its own body.
Right.
And you couldn't influence it. In fact, the heart was the recorder of every event that you went through in your life. So you couldn't lie and say, oh, you know, I was good, I was this, because the heart wouldn't lie. It'll always tell the truth.
Right.
And this is really funny in ancient Egyptian religion, but they would actually wear amulets of the beetle over the heart of the scarab. And on the back of this scarab amulet, it says to the heart, please lie for me, basically. You know,
yeah,
please don't tell the gods what I've done.
I would have a book of fibs. I would have a tome of fibs. Yeah, I was always fascinated with that ceremony, and because you can't jump out of line, right, and go, you know what, I don't want to do this. No, it's going to happen, and you're going to weigh your heart against the feather, and you don't have an option to go and have a redo at that moment.
No, but, there was a beast. It was like a combination of a crocodile and a lion and a hyena and all these different creatures. And what they would do is they would feed the heart to this animal, to this beast, and it would devour you. But this was not a bad thing. This was eating up this karma, and it was saying, okay, now you have the ability to go back. So it was actually a very positive thing to come back, because now you've learned these experiences, you see what it's done in the afterlife, and now you have the opportunity to be born again, to work through those things that you carry and come back and see if you're closer to that truth.
Now, with these different portals and the whether it's ascension or going to these other dimensions, they were in Greece, in ancient Greece. They were in Rome, of course, in ancient Rome. They were here in North America and South and Central America as well, and Japan and Asia and China. They were everywhere. Were they the results of the mystery schools where this information was passed around the world, or was it part of their individual religions and their mythology?
I think it comes from ancient mythology. And, I'm even looking on Twitter here, and Wendy just posted something of Hopewell Mounds in Ohio.
Yes, I saw that.
And these sites are all over the world, and even the sites in Peru. When you ask these locals, or you ask these people that live there, who built these, they even say it wasn't us. They were here when we got here.
Right.
So we really don't know. We could assume who built them. And, a lot of people could say aliens or other type of ancients like the Atlanteans or the Lemurians or other lost cultures. But we really don't understand what these things are. And I was working with a channeler once, and they said something very interesting that always stuck with me. And we were saying, well, how are these buildings so advanced and we don't understand how they're built? And they channeled something, and they said to me, these buildings were built in another dimension and they were dropped down into ours.
What would what would that indicate to you? Was there a physical transport, like your body, or was it just your mind? And let me go to some modern sides of this with technology, like the new TV series Altered Carbon, where they were teleporting, but they weren't teleporting the body. They were only teleporting the mind. You went into a body that was waiting for you. So your mind, you are in different bodies when you needed to change locations. And is it the same example here where we are talking about an altered state of consciousness where your mind is being transported like via maybe a Stargate going to another planet or another galaxy, where your mind is going and then you have a vessel that you are going to receive into?
Well, that's exactly what happened to me. One night I was having an astral experience. So I was out of my body, and this portal opened up in the room. And this is not in the third dimension. I don't even want to call it fourth or fifth. It's just you're out of your body, and that's all I could explain. And this portal opens up, and you get thrown through this portal or pulled through this portal. And I'm in space traveling, and I see this planet, and I ask, there's this guide behind me. There's usually someone behind me holding my shoulder, and I could talk telepathically to it. And I say, where are we going? And they said, the Pegasus constellation. And I could see these stars, and we come up to this planet. And as I go into this planet, my consciousness is placed in a body that's living there. So now it's my consciousness taking over a body to travel. So that absolutely was an experience. But I also think that at one point on this planet, and even today, these portals that open up, they can take your physical body somewhere else. And you hear a lot of stories about these things where people are just walking in the woods or something, and they just disappear. And then you get stories from medieval times where people are coming out of the forest, and they're in a different clothing, different time period, different language, and they don't understand how they got there. So I think there's both. I think definitely we can be transported physically. And in fact, it was NASA. What is his name? Professor Scudder from, I think it's Ohio. He put together a program where he found that when the geomagnetic field of the sun and the geomagnetic field of the earth cross each other, it actually creates a portal, an actual portal in space and time that if you go through that portal, you will travel, I would say, millions and millions of light years or wherever those things are. So it is actual science that we can go physically. And I think that, people are looking into wormholes and how to traverse the wormhole theories.
Mm-hmm.
And that is our future. We are going to learn how these things operate, and we're going to build technology that can actually get us there safely. And, I've been watching a lot of these UFO videos that have been coming out on YouTube lately, especially the one from Utah and the one that just came out, I think it was in Spain.
Yes.
And the one thing that's very, very interesting, because I'm a photographer, and I've caught a lot of ships with my camera that are very similar to that. And I'm shooting at an extremely high frame rate because it will be very sunny outside. And these things will be moving so fast that it's just this long blur in the photograph. And if this was a physical craft flying by, the sonic boom and the pressure on the air, you would feel it like an explosion.
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing with both of those videos. Right now, I know it's a drone, but those guys, the drone pilots are there. They're localized. They're standing on the ground. That where is their experience with the sonic pressure and the volume, the noise that is involved, where they would report this? That would be something that they could not hear. They would have to hear it.
Yeah, and there's no movement, no sound, and even if it goes by a tree, that there's not even going to be a leaf that's going to move. So what is this? And the only thing that makes sense to me is that it's operating in another dimension just outside of our visual spectrum of light. So that we can capture this with our camera equipment. But we're not seeing these really fast craft with our eyes. We're only seeing them with these cameras, So it's really telling me that this is something that's just outside our veil. It's in another dimension or an earth plane, and there are some type of intelligent craft or ship or something that's being operated, and these cameras are now capable of capturing this. Because if this was a third dimensional object, a metallic object, it would have knocked that drone out of the sky.
Yeah, there would have been a vortex of, a trail behind that would have knocked these drones unstable. Right? That's it. You would have seen the effects of it because both of those objects, the one in Spain and the one in Utah, flew right in front of the drone and passed it. And it's one of the things that's eerily similar between both of those pieces of footage is that you have a flyby in front of the drone by these craft. So where are the physical effects of that? And I didn't see it in either piece of footage. I was thinking, okay, where you're going, the interdimensional aspect of it, is out of frequency, another dimension, popped into our dimension. There's that part. I was thinking some type of gravitational bubble that would be around these craft where they weren't affecting the atmosphere around it, and that would explain it. Both pieces of footage look real to me, by the way.
I've caught similar things, and I even put a picture of that in my presentations where it's like I'm shooting at 1,000 frames a second because it's so sunny out, and I'm shooting right at the blue sky into the sun. And I'll get those same ships just kind of streaking by really, really fast, and they kind of look like these cylinders almost, but they're moving so fast that it's just a blur. I don't know exactly what it is, and it can't be like an insect or a bug because it's so far in the distance and it's moving so fast that, I can shoot. I think my camera shoots 14 frames a second. It's a very high shutter,
right?
And I could do it, and it will only show in one of those pictures.
Very interesting. Let's take our break right here. Jason Quitt is our guest. That's right. If you're here for David Icke, it's not your imagination. That is Jason Quitt. David Icke will be with us next week. We will continue our conversation about portals and other dimensions with Jason Quitt right after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Introducing the new Surfer Music app. Listen, Fadernauts, you know I love my music. This is my go-to for all things notes. The Surfer app is a brand new concept in music listening. Surfer is free, providing unlimited access to thousands of live streaming radio stations. Surfer is an exciting, interactive listening experience. Discovery and surprise are built right in. Surfer is your destination to discover and rediscover great live streaming music. It features high-quality audio streams, free access to music from thousands of live streaming radio stations, unlimited listening, unlimited skipping. You get a music visualizer, and you can also select your favorite channels. Get it at the Apple App Store or Google Play. Just search Surfer Music or click on the Surfer banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt, standing in for David Icke. David Icke rescheduled for next week. So, yeah, it's all good. Tomorrow night, it's the Q Army with In the Matrix and Shady Groove. You're not going to want to miss that show. Tonight, it's Jason Quitt. And Jason, all of this reminds me of, and I see the picture that you've posted up here. That I remember that image. I'm going to retweet this right now. Let me get this up so everybody can see what we're talking about. This reminds me of what happened to us up at ECETI last year during Soltech, the daytime sighting that we had with, I've been calling it the beer can thing. But it disappeared, and I didn't get to see it disappear because I was going between the binoculars and looking at it with the naked eye. I went back to the binoculars. It was gone. I went back and and everybody's yelling, it's gone. It's gone. It just disappeared. I didn't get to see it disappear. I don't know if it phased out or if it, took off really fast. Everybody's reactions were it just disappeared. And this could be an example of that. And I've often thought since then, replaying this in my mind, that it just vaporized. It just went back to where it came from.
I had the most amazing experience, and it happened over Lake Simcoe here in Barrie, where I live. And I was at this concert at night, and there was this UFO in the sky, and it looked like this red plasma ship. It was like glowing orange red, and it was so visible in the sky, and it was very big. And we're all just watching this thing over the lake, and it almost looked like, like a dimmer switch for a light bulb?
Sure.
It's like someone took that dimmer switch and just turned it down, and it's gone, vaporized into the sky. And, we're all sitting there staring at this thing. And right there, it's like we see it transitioning from this world into another. It's not flying at a high rate of speed. It was almost like this light just dimmed out and it's gone into vapor. It was the most amazing sighting I've seen.
Yeah, we've had so many of those types of sightings. Certainly, I've had them personally with groups of people where you see something, power up or sputter up and then sputter away and power down. And I can't figure it out. It's such a complex technical issue that we're dealing with here, but when you hear reports over the decades of things just appearing and then disappearing, it must be an example of something coming in from another dimension, something that is now in our frequency, where before it may always be there. Right? These things are always there, but we're just not in the same frequency to see them. Just like ultraviolet and other types of light that we just simply don't see.
But remember at ECETI, we're describing Bigfoot experiences as well in the exact same manner.
Right.
In fact, we see them running really fast. They'll take 3 or 4 steps and gone. It's like, where do these things go?
Right.
They just disappear. And do you remember the tracks that the kids found in the field?
I'll never forget it.
Okay, those were perfect Bigfoot tracks. And there was only 4 of them. There were only 4 of them, and the last footprint wasn't even a footprint. It was just the 4 toes digging into the sand like it's jumping into something.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher for me because as we were all out there, because at first we only found the 1 footprint, and then we found the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. But turning around and looking the direction that this creature would have come from, well, we went back. There was nothing there. There was nothing, and there was nothing after that. And it kind of took a gentle turn, right, to the right, these prints, going in the direction of all of the RVs and the motorhomes that were out there. And I was just thinking to myself, where was it coming from and where was it going to? There was nothing before and after. It was just these 4 prints that were like 6 feet apart out in the middle of the field. It was totally bizarre.
Yeah, and it goes into this theory that these things, whatever they are some type of dimensional being, and that they pop in and out of our reality, especially in places on the planet that have these portals. And I think that Field of Dreams is definitely the place for that.
Now, you just posted a pic that you took. You were up in the mountains. Where was this?
This was actually at Contact in the Desert last summer. And actually, Eric Awakening Man took me on a hike with my wife, and we went right up, I forget the name of where we went, but it was a very tall mountain in Palm Springs, California. And I was just shooting, my wife was shooting the camera, and when I looked back at the photos, it was there. And I knew that, this was a very advanced camera, and I had a very high shutter speed on it. And I knew that this thing, whatever we captured, was very far away from the camera. It was way out in the distance.
Yes.
And it was traveling at such a velocity that you can see that it's blurred on both ends.
And how many pictures did you take in this sequence?
In this sequence, probably like 10 to 15 pictures, and it's the only picture with it.
Yeah, so nothing before and after.
No.
Wow, bizarre. It looks like it's a few miles out. It doesn't look like it's very close. Is there a possibility of this being a bug or a bird? I don't see any flapping wings or anything. Every time I see a bug or a bird, there's always some kind of protrusion, that's out. I don't see anything here. It is just merely a tube.
You can really see if you look closely that it's some type of metallic-like object, and then you could see on the underside that it's shadowed. So it's casting this shadow as it's passing by.
Huh. Where's the shadow? Oh, okay.
I mean, you can see the bottom of the craft is more darker. Then you have this kind of like thin line on the top that looks more metallic.
Right.
It almost looks like a cylinder, but I can't tell if it's a cylinder or some type of craft just moving very fast.
It's a pretty incredible picture. That's a good grab. That's a good grab. The interdimensionality of it is something that I think that we're going to get closer to with science these days, where we're talking about parallel worlds or, the multiverse and the existence of other dimensions beyond, 3 or 4 being time. That this is what is going on. Not in all instances, but when you see stuff appear that you don't necessarily see with the naked eye, that like this picture here. This just happened to be a photograph. I grabbed many pictures where I went and looked, and I look at the sequence of shots. I would take 3, 4, 5 shots in a row so I could make sure that one of them was in focus. And I'm just shooting things in nature, and then boom, there's one shot in that sequence that has something in it that isn't in the other shots. And I can't explain that stuff away except for, is it possible that it's interdimensional?
Yeah, and some of these interdimensional beings, if you look closely on YouTube, there's a lot of different alien videos or gnome videos or little fairy videos. And you can tell that they're real by the way they move. And some of them, they jitter very quickly, and you see them and they're gone, like they just disappear, but really they just are moving too fast for our eyes to see. So they're out of our time space. Literally, they're moving at a different vibratory rate, just like these ships. So we can't see them with our physical eyes. And if these beings or ships pass us, we may look like a standing tree to them. We would be completely still because they're moving at such a high rate of speed that we may just be like a stone to them. We're not moving.
Well, like that Utah video, if I had the first time I watched the video, I was like, okay, I think I saw something, right? Because it's moving so fast. I had to go back and watch. Certainly you can see it off in the distance, and once you know what you're looking for, but it blasting past the camera, no, it's only in a couple of frames, and if I was there when that went down, like those guys were, they didn't see it. They simply did not see this object. When we're talking about these different portals, Jason, and these areas around the world, are there bad places? Are there places where we shouldn't be?
Yes, there are good places where are very good for human life, but then there's places where we really shouldn't be that kind of drain our energy, or there's other beings that live there. And those beings may not be friendly to humans. So we can call them, poltergeist or goblins or gnomes or things that will just start messing with you when you start to move in this area. And this is actually very common. A lot of people don't know this, but there are areas where, let's say, these beings live just outside of our normal range of perception. And I don't know if you saw, there's a new documentary out called Hellier. I don't know if you've heard or seen that.
I've seen pieces of it, yes.
Okay. I watched that, and they were talking about this being, and it's almost like this little goblin type being, this three-toed thing. And when you go back into the history of where this thing is being seen, they're known to cause mischief. Right? They're like a mischievous entity that live in the caves and walk through the trails of these mountainous areas. Now, I was watching a Paranormal Witness in Japan with some friends, and there was this poltergeist activity in California, and it left a footprint in their kitchen, and it was this three-toed footprint. And I'm telling you, it was the exact same footprint that they were showing in Hellier. In that documentary. So this thing is more common than we know, and there are these mischievous entities that live on the earth plane just outside of our dimension, that if you move into their neck of the woods, they're going to really start messing with you, and they're not going to make your life easy.
Are there specific locations that you can tell us about?
Well, that one in specific with the Hellier case, I think they have reports of that all through North Carolina, Tennessee, that area.
Well, but we can't not live in Kentucky, right?
No.
I mean, is it localized to a house, to a piece of property, woods?
Yes, it would be localized to a very specific property or cave or house, like the poltergeist activity that was in California. That was located on the street. So basically, many of the houses on that street, everybody had to leave and they couldn't sell their houses.
So how do we know? Right?
Well,
how do we know what to avoid?
Well, I think it's just trial and error right now. You had these areas that the ancient shamans knew. It's like, okay, don't go over there. That's sacred land, not for us. So they would kind of stay away from it. But there are areas like, I know, I'm not going to say where this is because it may cause some issues, but there was a place that everyone on that street couldn't have babies.
Oh, where is this?
I can't say because I don't want to get in trouble.
Why? Why would you get in trouble?
Because it's too close to home. I know some of these people personally, and it's very sad and tragic. And if they do have a child on that street, they don't live very long.
So this is in Toronto?
No, this is not in Toronto.
It's in Canada, though.
No, it's not.
Oh, man. What a bailout.
I'm sorry. It's just too close to home. But they started to realize that it wasn't just one family on the street that this was happening to. It was many people on the street that the exact same thing was happening to them. So they decided to move, and once they moved, then they started to have their children.
There are so many stories. There's probably a million or more throughout history where don't go in the woods. There's a bad dude in there. Don't go over there because it's over and over again. Are these just built-in warnings for children because adults know about it and they've had their experiences, and it's a fairy tale, but it's repeated for a reason.
It's definitely repeated for a reason, and sometimes you just don't want to go into the forest at night alone. And I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen what you would consider to be a fairy in the woods, and I saw it with a friend of mine. We were taking pictures one night, and it looked like a green road flare, like someone lit a green road flare in the forest. It was so bright, and we walked right towards this thing. We both had cameras in our hands, okay, but we were so shocked we didn't even take a picture of this thing. And we were standing right over it and looking at it, trying to figure out what the heck this is, because it was giving off this very strong light, but there was no heat, there was nothing coming from it. And then I took my flashlight and shined on it, and it just disappeared. So there's all these weird phenomenon, and you hear the story of the fairy circles. Don't go into fairy circles. Like, these are fairy tales that have been told for hundreds of years, if not longer. And it's because if you step into one of these fairy circles when they're activated, you're gone. You disappear, and you could be projected into time or space or wherever you're being projected. You may even just be projected to another continent on the earth. So there is these kind of teleportation stories that happen when people wander into these fairy circles.
I reported on this, I had the hard numbers maybe 6 months ago, about how many people on this planet simply disappear each year. Gone. Right? Just gone. And the number's extraordinary. It's over 1 million that just simply disappear and are never heard from again. And the examples of somebody that just wants to disappear and they change their name and they split and they move and they're never heard from again. Okay, all right, there's that. People that are, taken, by other humans. Okay, there's some of that too as well. Then there's the ones that you simply just can't explain. It's a huge number, Jason, huge.
It's a huge number, and I can't really say where they're going, if they're all right, if they're safe, because how do we really know what's happening? But the scariest thing that I've heard is someone walking in the forest with somebody. They're standing right next to that person, and they're just gone. They just completely disappear. And they're never heard from again. And a lot of people will say, okay, alien abduction, if David Icke was here, he'd say reptilians took them underground, But honestly, I don't think we really know that answer. But I think these natural portal systems on the planet can be an explanation for a percentage of what's happening. I definitely think that could be a percentage.
Okay, listen to this number. These are numbers. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Yep.
Worldwide, 8 million children go missing each year, unaccounted for. 8 million. Australia, 2015, 305,000 people reported missing in Australia from 2008 to 2015. Completely missing. One person every 18 minutes in Australia. Canada, 60,582 missing children in 2007. Right? I mean, how crazy Jamaica. Let me jump down. United Kingdom, 140,000 children go missing each year.
You know what this reminds me of? And hopefully there's a lot of X-File fans listening right now. But you remember when Mulder was trying to find his sister?
Yes.
And he finds out that there's all these children on the planet that have this other mission, or they were abused, or something really bad happened to these children. And because they were such pure souls, they just turned into starlight.
Yeah,
Do you remember that episode?
Yes, I do. In the United States, 800,000 children go missing each year. 800,000. That is a crazy statistic. I don't even know how else to look at it. I don't. There's got to be something supernatural. There's got to be another explanation to this. And it's not all criminal activity.
Well, I really, really hope it's not all that criminal activity, because that would be very awful to live in a world like that. So I hope that they're in a better place, or they be projected to another world where they're having a good life now. I'll put out that positive vibe. And I remember speaking to an abductee and a channeler, and we were talking about these missing children. And I don't really know how much I would like to believe this, but I'll just tell you what was said, is that they said there's a number of these children that are born here on this planet that are incarnations of these type of alien beings. And these aliens choose to incarnate in certain children, and that at a certain time in that child's life, that child is taken by these aliens that are their family that have come to take them. And what they're doing is they're going to seed other planets with human bodies, and new incarnations can then go to those planets. So that's an interesting thing, and it sounds like a very positive thing, but I don't know what percentage that is of these cases.
Yeah, I'm looking at missing adults, and the number is equally as disturbing with adults, and it's like in the United States in 2014, 90,000 missing adults in a calendar year. I mean, it's okay. And I've got another number, 150,000, and this was February of 2017. That's an extraordinary. There's only 350 million people in the United States.
Let's just hope it's not the Morlocks.
Well, is it a question of we've got to take a break here in a few seconds, where they are literally going through a portal, they're going through a Stargate, they're going through something, another timeline, driving down the road, walking down the road, and they're at the wrong place at the wrong time. They weren't grabbed, they weren't kidnapped, they weren't murdered. They just disappeared.
To answer that question, I think we should look in our timeline right now and see, people that are going into mental institutions saying that they came from the future or the past.
Right. Let's take a break. That's a good one. It reminds me of 12 Monkeys, right? With Bruce Willis. Classic example. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Jason Quitt is our guest tonight. I know some of you were expecting David Icke. David Icke will be with us next week. And Jason Quitt stepped up, and we're talking about portals and other dimensions. and disappearing. And before the break, I was pulling up some stats here. Check this out, Jason. And if there's ever a question of something else going on here besides criminal activity, these numbers certainly support this. I'm going to throw some of these numbers out there. In 1980, roughly 150,000 people were reported missing every year. Now the number is around 900,000. Approximately 2,300 Americans are reported missing every day. This includes both children and adults. This does not include Americans who have vanished in other countries, individuals who disappear and are never reported, or homeless or and their children. That's nuts. According to the National Crime Information Center, the NCIC, 355,243 women were reporting missing in 2010, compared to 337,660 men. It's estimated that nearly 800,000 children will be reported each year in the United States. 40,000 children go missing each year in Brazil, 50,500 in Canada, 39,000 in France, 100,000 in Germany, and 45,000 in Mexico. An estimated 230,000 children go missing in the United Kingdom each year, or one child every 5 minutes.
Very, very eerie.
That's crazy. Those are big numbers.
And you don't hear those on mainstream media ever. No, these are huge numbers. And if there is a phenomenon, okay, let's just say, yes, there's criminal activity that goes on and we could account on that. They also say that people go in the woods and an animal will take them and eat them, So, but is there a percentage of that these people just vanish and people can actually see them vanish? Or someone, goes to bed one night in their house and then suddenly they vanish. And I really think that there are these lines of energy on this planet. Many people call them ley lines or dragon lines. And when these lines get active, they could open up physical portals. And if you're in that wrong place at that wrong time, you will basically vanish. And earlier you were telling the story of a person that was seeing across the river this kind of medieval times party or ceremony or whatever they were seeing.
Old West, yes.
Old West. Now, what if they went over there and started to interact with them, and then they turn around to come back and they're in a different time,
right?
And now they're vanished,
right.
So again, it's like, I would be very, very curious. What are the stats and numbers of people that don't have identifications that show up in our timeline saying they don't understand how they got here and now they're in mental institutions?
Right. There's got to be a statistic out there somewhere for that. The AMA may have some information there. And it also reminds me of the research by David Paulides. And in his Missing 411 series of books, and there were a couple of. He told me this one story that it's in one of his books, one of the cases, but where the clothes are found folded, right, and then the body is somewhere else without the clothes. Now, how does that happen, right? In that, if somebody is out there freezing to death, the last thing that they're going to do is take off their clothes, right? That's you would think that would be the last thing that's going to happen. I don't think a black bear or some grizzly bear is going to fold up the clothes after they have killed somebody. Right, there's and they're also found distances apart as well, and then in other cases where they find the shoes, but they don't find the body. It doesn't make any sense. Why would somebody take off their shoes in the middle of the woods? That's the last thing that you would take off. And it always suggests supernatural to me. David hasn't gone as far as, pointing it at Bigfoot or UFOs, but he doesn't. What he does remove is the human element, the criminal activity.
Well, do you remember this case? I think it's a famous case from Russia, and I hope somebody fact checks this for me. But it's a story of these hikers it was like a snowy mountain.
Yeah, the Dyatlov Pass.
And they basically, something happened to them where they had to like cut themselves out of that tent, but then there's no tracks outside that tent in the snow.
Well, there's something. Well, okay. The Dyatlov Pass, I think it's 10, 12 students, all around the age of 18, 19 years old. There was they went out into the snow naked. The bodies, some of them were found without their clothes. They also cut, like you said, they cut their way out of the tent, climbed a tree, obviously trying to get away from something. There were reports that night from the locals, the villagers, about lights in the sky. And I think the Russian military reported that too as well. The case has recently been reopened, by the way. The KGB got a hold of the case and made it confidential and top secret and removed it from any public investigation and civilian investigation. But it has been reopened.
Because, when you're out in the woods, I don't want to scare any people, but there are different beings that can phase in and out from their dimension to our dimension. And a lot of these beings, they don't look very friendly. We don't really know what their intentions are. They could just be observing us. But our main reaction to seeing something that we've never seen before standing in the room with us, there is nothing to prepare you for that. Especially if you're seeing like an alien or something that you would consider like a beast or a demon type creature just show up in your room or in your tent, I'd be cutting myself out of that tent as well.
Well, why is it that we want to go and interact and mingle, trying to participate in their world? Why is it that we always want to do this? I do.
Because I think that it's a plethora of different beings. There's some that are very positive, very good helper beings, and then there's some that are not so friendly. So it's, you'll get all types of experiences. And I think this is what we've been doing even from the first religions. Like they were always trying to commune or talk to higher beings or angels or gods to get advice. And they would even conjure different beings in these other dimensions to help them. So there was like helper spirits or spirits that could do sorcery, so it was all, it was a mixed bag. And, if you look back at the Ark of the Covenant, it was some type of technology or device that could communicate with a god, right? And now we have quantum computing, which is talking to the multidimensional world.
Yep.
And what are they saying? They're saying it's like an alien god. They're communicating with some other intelligence out there. So why do we keep coming back to this? We need to communicate outside of this dimension to bring us into this different awareness. And I think that's a question that's been in us for always. And we continue to go down this path to try to communicate with these different beings. I think that we are interconnected with them in some type of fashion, and that we will start to learn our truth by knowing the world we live in and by blocking out that world completely we're blocking out a piece of ourselves and the understanding of our place in the universe and on this plane of existence.
Well, fairy tales, right? Fairy tales. And, I'm a guy. So growing up, fairy tales were for girls, right? It was something I didn't pay much attention to it. But they get told over and over again, and we are told about exactly this. There's another dimension out there. There are other things out there that we don't know about, and sometimes these fairies aren't so good. Sometimes there's bad fairies. Sometimes they're a help you, but the tales are repeated and repeated. I ignored them. I had were you there at ECETI when I had my ring stolen?
Of course I was there.
You were there, story. Right? You were there. Okay. Yeah. So I had to ask for the ring back. I didn't want to ask for the ring back, but I did, and I got the ring back a few minutes later. That kind of freaked me out in that I know how difficult it was for me to this day to take that ring on and off because I take it on and off every day. And it messed with my head. Should we almost treat these missing people the same way? Right? Do we need to ask? Do we need to ask for our family and loved ones back? As crazy as that sounds, is that something that we should consider?
I've never thought of that, but that might be a course of action. And in Canada and all over the world, actually, but in Canada, they have stories of the little people that live in the forests. And these are dimensional beings. You can't really see them physically. But there was one story that I heard from the real person that this happened to, was that they were out in the forest with their ATV. And I guess they caught bad air and they flipped the ATV, and this thing crushed the person in the middle of the forest. No one was with him, right? So the family goes to search for this man, and they can't find him anywhere. So after a week, they just say, you know what, probably a bear took him, and we'll never find this person again. Well, a week later, a hiker found this man in a cave. And when they said to this man, how did you get here? What happened to you? He said he fell off the ATV. He broke a bunch of bones in his body, and the little people took him to the cave, and they treated him and they fed him and they kept him well enough until the hikers came to take him back into society.
And his bones were broken?
Yeah.
Wow. When was this?
I heard this story, how many years ago? I heard this story about 5 years ago. And I think it happened 4 years before that. So I think it was about 9 years. And where this happened, it's an island called Manitoulin Island in Ontario.
When I hear myself talk about these things, Karen just tweeted out, asking fairies for your stuff back is kind of embarrassing. And I get that. Because my experience was real, and as I have told the story, it's exactly how it happened. So I you know what? I don't care. I don't care. But the things that I have seen, this lady up at ECETI, I'll think of her name in a second. She came up to me. She goes, "I've got to show you this picture of this fairy that I took." Right? And she's got her phone, and boom, and it's right there. It's out near the medicine wheel, right out in at ECETI, the big tree that's next to the medicine wheel. Right up, right there, daylight. Right there is this blue orb with frigging Tinkerbell. That's the only way. It's Tinkerbell with wings and a face and these arms, and it's just like I don't know what to do with that. Oh, her name is Karen. Karen just said her name was Karen. Okay, there you go. Her name was Karen, and I don't know what to do with that. How can I look at somebody straight with a straight face and go, and then this lady showed me this picture of a fairy that she took on her phone, and it's Tinkerbell in a blue orb. Well, I don't know what to do with this stuff. But my own personal experiences, but I don't care anymore. And over the years, these stories have been repeated over and over again. By the way, it was D. Montgomery that suggested that we should ask for our children back from the fairies. And I can't take credit for that. But, yeah.
But it could be very annoying and frustrating. And I'm sure this has happened to so many people where they put their keys down somewhere and they just turn around and go back and the keys are gone. You say, give the keys back now.
I think it happened to Karen, not the Karen that took the pictures, but I think Karen, it happened to her too as well with her keys. And Karen, I could be wrong here if I'm telling the story wrong, but I think she had like a backpack in her tent where her keys were, and she checked her backpack a bunch of times, and the keys were not there. And then she left, and she went back a couple of hours later, and the keys were in the middle of her bed.
Wow.
Her made bed, right? Just like,
so,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So this is what I was told. When you go to places like Manitoulin Island where these things happen all the time, or Iseti, what the natives told me out there is before you even step into one of these forests, you need to take candy with you. And before you step in, you put the candy on the ground and you say, this is for the little people and the fairies and the elementals. And please watch over me as I enter your realm. Don't mess with me. Don't play with me. Protect me. Here's candy. And that's what they tell you to do when you go to these places. So when I would travel up to these very sacred sites, you'll see candy on the ground and little treats that they place out for these beings because they want to be protected.
Any particular kind, like Reese's Pieces or,
Sugar. They really like the sugar candies.
Well, all candies have sugar. I'm just wondering.
But there's some that are just like 100% sugar. I don't know.
It's the kind that I eat. I bet you they would like Rice Krispie treats. Those are good. Those would be good for fairies.
I think it's just more of like an act of honoring.
Right.
And it's showing that, you're entering into their world. Because, you hear a lot of these stories where you have like loggers or people that are not respecting these sacred sites. They don't even know they're sacred. They don't even know what's there behind the veil. Mm-hmm. There could be a bunch of these elementals or goblins or trolls or whatever you want to call them in that location. And then these people are going to cut down that location and affect them. And then these people get very sick. They may have nightmares. They may have illnesses that are not explainable. Or some of them may even die by some mysterious force. Maybe because they stepped and messed with the wrong place and the wrong beings. And it's the same thing with the curses of the mummies. When someone would go into these tombs, a lot of them would just get very ill and die. And, you could discount that as superstition from, the air that they're breathing in there or some toxin. But they did do a lot of rituals where they placed these very protective spirits into those tombs to watch over these tombs, so that when these seals were broken, these spirits would spiritually attack these people. So you hear all these stories, and it kind of relates to what's being told and taught all over the world about how these spirits can have an influence and effect on us.
So you said candy, pure sugar, and Lucinda goes, caramels. Absolutely right.
I'm pretty sure Lucinda has some experience.
Yes, she does. She's laughing right now. Caramels, everybody loves caramels. And see, there would be, I would assume, Jason, that some candy would be more sacred than others. You know, Twix, Kit Kats, Reese's, caramels, any sea salt caramel is, any self-respecting fairy is going to go for the sea salt caramels first, I would think.
I think you're channeling some fairies right now, Jimmy.
I think so. You know what? And the thing is, not too much stuff goes missing over at our house because it's full of candy. And you can tell I'm a candy connoisseur. I do. I do like my candy, and I'm feeling what you're saying here. Go into the woods. Don't go in with fruits. Don't go in with vegan materials. Go in with the real commodities. Go in with caramels and candy, and put that down.
And this is what I've heard, is that they really, really appreciate very sweet liquors.
Really?
Like a cherry liquor or some type of fruity liquor. It draws in helper spirits if you're asking for help to do a specific task or to be protected.
What's a fruity liquor?
Like a cherry liquor or a lychee liquor. I don't know. I don't drink, so
lychee liquor. Oh, that's good. That's good. But fairies are real, and this is something that I'm comfortable with now. I really don't care. I just feel that through my own personal experience, others have had their experiences. I get that, and I've seen the photographs and the drawings and the stories. I'm not basing it on that. I'm basing it purely on my own experience. Something that Peach Schnapps, David Pendleton, just posted. I'm saying this from my own experience, and I don't care about the criticism or the jokes or anything like that. I really don't care. It was an experience that I went through, and I honestly don't have another explanation for it. The ring was removed from me and then returned, and that's it. It didn't fall off my hand.
And it didn't just happen to you. We all have stories from that weekend. Monica lost her cell phone.
That's right. That's right.
We tore up that couch. There was 5 of us. We tore that couch apart, threw all the pillows on the ground, put the couch back together. Came back to the couch an hour later, tore the couch apart again, and it was right there on the seat.
Rita just texted me, "Have you lost your mind?" I know.
I think we started losing our mind right when we said hello tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take our break right here, and we'll go into some overtime, and we're going to continue this because there is a certain amount of closure in disclosure with this conversation, and we're going to wrap all of this up and tie it together when we come back after this short break. Our guest tonight is Jason Quitt. Tomorrow night, I do want to remind everybody, we have the Q Army here with In the Matrix and Shady Groove. Thursday night is our 1000th show, and it's on a Fader night. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
You are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi folks, CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Quitt is with us, doing a little overtime. Time to circle the wagons and tie all of this together. And Jason, throughout history, all the way through to today, we are always fighting this thing with those that consider the world as just a two-dimensional place, that there's nothing else out there, and then there's everybody else that is talking about these issues. And it will always be there, won't it? This battle of truth.
I think it will, and I think truth is evolving depending on where we see the world. So our perspective of the world and ourselves changes over time. But I think we're always kind of driving to this disclosure moment. And that's the thing. I don't think the big D, the big disclosure, is going to happen. And if it does happen, it's going to give us more questions than answers. So then we're going to have a whole bunch of different things that we need to research and look into, and that might open up a whole other area that we need to go down and explore. So we're always being driven forward. Now, I had this kind of thought the other night, and it was making me laugh a little, is that let's say aliens, let's say very technologically advanced beings came to our planet and said, congratulations, you have entered into the Galactic Federation. And because of that, each human on the planet gets their own replicator. So you can create any food or object with your replicator. You get a med bay in your home, which basically you will live forever now. You'll never get sick, and you can modify your body to be the best you could possibly be. And on top of that, we're releasing all the gold in the world, and each person has $1 billion in their bank account, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say that happened. At our level of spirituality, of our level of understanding ourselves in this world, in this universe, we are going to completely become stagnant beings. We're not going to progress any further because all challenges in life have just been ended. We've just received the lottery ticket, basically. And it reminds me of that movie WALL-E, for example, where that ship is out in space.
Everybody walks on perfect, and then before you know it, everybody's fat and
they're all on social media. They're tapped in. They're getting fed. They're not even using their limbs. You know, the robots are feeding them.
Right, right.
And they don't have intelligence because it was the ancestors that had the intelligence that built these technologies, and they built robots to maintain those technologies. And because of that, these humans have lost the ability to even understand how to fix an object or how this object works. And I think that is what would happen if we became very technologically advanced, put robots in charge, but we weren't spiritually or educated enough to maintain that level of technology. Then it would just become like magic.
How do we keep the motivation there? Let's suppose E.T. shows up to our rescue and fixes the medical issues and takes care of our food. How do we stay motivated?
That's the $1 million question. And I think the answer would be is we would go back to a creative society. So we would go back to music and art and some type of expression of the human soul. If our needs are taken care of, I think we would go back to that type of expression, which is creative. But if we're not spiritually advanced and we're just given this stuff, we would just, and then again, where is this stuff coming from? You know, where's the resources going to come from creating these devices? You know, and who's going to mine that? Who's going to build it and create it? Maybe it's the Greys. Maybe it's a whole bunch of biological robots that are now on duty to create this new world for us. But again, these are just hypothetical thoughts that, you know, what would happen if we did receive all these things, kick out our government and say, you know, you guys have been doing us wrong for so many years. We're going to put in the Galactic Federation and everybody's going to be love and light. You know, you have to look at our population. There's almost 7 billion people on this planet. Think of the people that research UFOs and consciousness. What percentage of the population is that? And then what is this percentage of the population that talks about disclosure? It's a very, very slim and small percentage of the population. In fact, a lot of the population of the planet doesn't even have a TV or a computer, doesn't have the internet. You know, they're just concerned about running water and getting food.
Yeah, no, I question that all the time. When there are some out there both in and out of our community, and I'm talking about the UFO community, but where you're in the awakening community or in this new age movement, or you're preaching love and light and how to activate these chakras and what to do, and then ET and make these contacts. And you know what? All of that is good. But how does that help the homeless children that are digging through garbage dumps in India? Right? Are they concerned about love and light and 7 chakras? And I'm being serious here.
Yeah.
How do these channeled beings address them? They're always addressing us, right? And I want to be a 5th dimensional being. Well, what? Okay, all right, okay. So you're addressing, but what about the other?
Most of the population,
right? The other
99% of the population,
right? The 4 billion people on this planet that make exactly $0 per year,
right? That is the problem that I've thought about for so many years. Now, I think enlightenment, I think ascension, I think disclosure is not an external thing. I think it has to do with personal growth, and it's done when the person is ready to find those truths. So we could find the truth and the disclosure and the enlightenment and the ascension right now individually, and we can choose that path individually. But for, let's say, an armada of ships to come to the planet and say, you've graduated, here you go, you're now going to be an enlightened society with all these things. Think of how many religious zealots are on the planet. Think of how many people are their belief system will not accept that help if that happens.
Yeah, and I would say you could probably go with a 50-50 scenario where you would, any 2 people that you grab, or you can divide it down the middle, in that half are wanting to improve this planet and do the work ourselves, and then the other half is always looking for a handout or a rescue.
And this goes back to ancient religion as well as the savior figure. And this is in our consciousness right now, and it's being perpetuated in every community, not just our community. In every community this is being perpetuated, is that there is some type of savior out there. Sit back, relax. You don't have to do anything because things are being handled in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And we will give you the reports and updates on all the crazy stuff that we're doing in the background. And you can sit down and you can watch your Netflix because don't worry, we got it handled. And that takes away the responsibility, it takes away the power, and it creates a dependent society again. And that's exactly the opposite of what we're trying to achieve with disclosure or personal awakening or enlightenment. We want that individual experience to become responsible and independent of their own spiritual path and understanding. So, there are that 50-50 like you're talking about. And I think that it's going to come out. It has to come out. There's too much knowledge out there right now, especially with the internet, that there are physical beings visiting the planet. There's high technology flying that, the U.S. military and militaries around the world, they can't compete with it. They can't compete with that technology. So this is going to come out eventually. I don't know if it's going to take 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or 50 years, but it's going to happen because there's just too much evidence out there. But it's the narrative and story that goes behind what these beings and ships are that will be a little troubling, because then you'll have people creating narratives and that may not be 100% accurate. And I think you said it best. I think you said it at ESETI, was that these things, whatever they are, can be so advanced that our minds are not even capable of understanding what they want or why they're here. So we're just kind of creating belief systems of what we believe these things are, or maybe even basing it off channeled messages. But when it really comes down to it, I still think we're in the dark on what these things actually are. And eventually we'll get there. And I think it's the experiencers, people that are having these outer body experiences, having contact experiences, getting to see these other worlds through these portals that we've been talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be those people that are going to be sharing the insights. And then I think science is going to verify it. And I think quantum mechanics is already verifying a lot of the things that we're talking about here.
There is, there's going to be a shock. There's going to be a shock to the system. There's going to be something so nuts that this whole planet is it's going to be, shaken and woken up. I don't know if it's going to be dug up. It's something that is going to just absolutely reveal itself that this entire thing that we have been taught and led to believe is wrong. It's going to come from the stars. There's going to be some dramatic flyby. There's going to be something that happens where everything is changed in an instant. And when that happens, the answer to all of this, to the misery on this planet and how we treat other people and how much money we spend on the military each year, all of this wasted resources where everything on this planet could have not only been fixed, but everybody could be in harmony with one another. And that shock to the system is either we are alone in the universe and there's no reason to take care of this planet because we're all alone. So let's just party like it's 1999 and let's just burn it out and whatever. That's the one scenario. Or the other one is there's something else out there and there's a reason to get our act together and go out there and make friends with our friends and neighbors in this Milky Way. And that's the truth. There's a reason to live and there's a reason to love one another, or there isn't, right? and there's going to be a shock to the system. There's going to be a brutal wake-up call where we're all going to look around and go, why are we building aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines? What are we doing this for? It just doesn't make any sense.
And this goes back to a very ancient philosophy that's coming out with the experiencers, is that these alien beings, if they are coming to this planet to awaken us or bring us into this next level of consciousness, they will only step in once we learn how to love one another and be at peace with ourselves. Because right now we're just killing each other and even worse things. And, I remember, from The Simpsons when, Mr. Burns comes out of the forest glowing and he says, "I bring you love," like the alien. And I think it was Lenny or someone that said, "Quick, he's bringing love, kill him."
Well, those that live, in these countries like the United States or Spain or France or Russia or Germany, whatever, or Central and South America, to Canada, for instance, and you wonder if there's the possibility out there, like the movie Silent Hill, where you go into backwards, where everything is your worst nightmare, the worst possible thing that you can think of, hell on earth. And think about what Iraq and Syria went through with ISIS. Something that was created by us, where humans are doing that to other humans. And there are families and children that were living and continue to live that nightmare. Not only with ISIS on the ground beheading and enslaving people, right, and burning people in cages. Think about flamethrowers to humans in cages in front of crowds of cheering people. What is going on? And then at the same time, planes are flying overhead dropping bombs. Living like that, Every single day on planet Earth, this is happening. We got to wake up, man. I just don't get it. I really, really, really don't get it. So we need that rude awakening. We need to be shaken.
Yeah. Well, heaven and hell exists right here on Earth. And we live all of those experiences here. And to, put our head in the sand and just think that, everything's going to be all right, I think is the wrong thing to do. I think we need to talk about these issues. We need to know that there are negative things going on in the world and be very aware of what's happening. And, I don't want to quote Ronald Reagan, but, his speech in the UN, where it's like if some threat from outer space came to this planet, it would bring the world together. In a sense, that's correct. I think if we all had an enemy, this one focal point to fight against, we would all join together. But again, it's like we're still fighting, right? We need to kind of get out of that cycle and be more creative, because the truth is, even with the 7 billion people on this planet, we have enough resources here to make everybody happy.
Every single person.
Every single person. That's not an issue. All these things of resources and strife and economics, it's all manufactured to continue that consumption. So if we would just see that as the truth, that this economical structure is just an idea and government is just an idea, and these are just belief systems, they're just ideas that somebody in the past has put forward and said, maybe this will work for our society. When we understand that this whole world is just based off of somebody else's ideas, we can dismantle them because they're not working and start a new idea. And, that goes to the best quote I've ever heard is, let's all dream a new world into reality. And I think that's exactly the power that the human race has. And we can bring on disclosure. We can bring on awakening. We can bring on all these really, really positive things to the people that need it the most, which is not us living in North America. It's those people that are starving around the world that don't have access to anything. Those are the people that need it. So I think that's where we really have to put our attention to with this whole movement, basically, that we do have the power to join together and help those less fortunate. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a change in nearly it's like a DNA shift. It would have to be at the core level of us, because no matter where, it seems like it doesn't matter the city or the country or the people, that they could descend into madness very, very quickly. And so, why do we do that? And it happens nearly in an instant. So it would almost have to be a DNA change, where even if there was a situation where a catastrophe or something happened, where instead of descending into darkness so quickly, that you descend into helping each other and not go the other way, because we are too quick to kill. I don't understand. There's one other thing. I don't understand how, through all of our maturity over these thousands of years on this planet, and going through so many wars and everything that we have gone through, that today, that where we understand PTSD and psychology and how the mind gets messed up, where we actually have our young men and women, their job is to kill, right? I mean, where are we with this today? And I understand that we have to have this defensive thing in place, military, because there are others out there that want to kill us, right? So we're like stuck in this catch-22. But yet that is still our mentality today, where we are dumping all of these massive amount of resources into this. It's like a DNA change. Something has to happen.
That's right, and it has to come from that DNA soul level where the greater population will have to say, this is not working, and it's obvious it's not working, and the people that really need to do this are the people that are the ones committing these atrocities. They're going to have to come to some realization deep within them that what they're doing is not right. And we can only pray for that, right?
Well, the Egyptians had it right, that where they would turn chaos around and they would achieve order out of chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the thing is, our generation, the generation under us, they're so tapped into the virtual world. And they're reading the news and social media that's being provided for them. And, I've been on social media since the beginning of social media, and I've seen how it's evolved. And when I read social media now, it's almost like almost everything that's being posted is posted to push your buttons. It's posted to get you to react to something. And a lot of things that people are posting are not even true things. So it's like we have this kind of new world that's being created, this new consciousness that's being created in this virtual world of social media and the internet. And this new media is affecting the way that the younger generations are seeing the world. So who knows what the next couple of generations will even be like if this is the platform that's going to teach those next generations.
Well, we understand now that, all the students these days are issued a tablet or a laptop, and they all have a smartphone, and they understand accessing knowledge and information through those mediums is a way of life now. But we have to accept that and understand that the ability to teach in real time, we have to do it responsibly. And how do we start raising them at a very young age where they have access to all of this electronically, how to instill a sense of morality and what is right and what is wrong.
And when we grew up, and I know I'm much younger than you, but we learned from experience. If we failed at something, it taught us a lesson, right?
Yep.
Now, these next generations, they're learning strictly from watching other people do things, be it like YouTube or social media or things like that. That's how they're learning their experiences. They're not actually going out into the world, getting their hands dirty unless they really, really have to. So the reason I'm even talking about this and bringing this up is that I remember we went on a walk in the forest with my cousins, and they brought their kids along, and the kids walked through the forest on their iPad. They didn't look up once. And I'm thinking, like, you look around you. This is the real world, but they were engaged.
Yes. One of my favorite memes of all time, which was from a few years ago. It was a museum, and it's a shot in the museum, and in the background on the wall is like a 10-foot by 10-foot Renaissance painting, or whatever, just this gorgeous piece of a master right on the wall. And in front is a bench. It's sideways, and there's like 6 13-year-old, 14-year-old girls all looking at their iPhones. Right. The painting's right here, and they're just, they're texting. Probably texting each other.
That's right. So what I would, I know it's getting close to the end here, and I would just want to put out there that ideologies and beliefs are things that get us caught in this matrix. And even disclosure is another one of these nets that catches us in this matrix. And they're all just different names for different control structures. And true freedom is not physical, because we create prisons within our own minds.
Yes.
And the only thing that we can truly control is where we put our attention. So where do we choose to place our life force? And I think this is the main thing that I want to express to everyone is, if you're online and you're focused on some drama, and every week it's a different drama, if you're focused on that drama, you're giving your life force to that. You're saying, in my life that I'm living, with every breath that I'm taking right now, I'm choosing to give my life to whatever that is. And once we take responsibility and understand that we are giving our life away to all these things that shouldn't take our life, we start to take our power back. We start to say, you know what, I'm not going to put my attention over there because it's just going to drag me down. It's going to hurt me mentally, emotionally, and physically because I'm going to be giving my time for it. So I think when it comes to this awakening disclosure movement, we really need to focus on our responsibility for our own energies and to see where we give that energy to. I think that's one of the main reasons why I'm even talking tonight, is just to express that over and over again.
Thank you so much, Jason. Another great conversation, another great show. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you out there. I don't know when our paths are going to cross again. Well, it's going to be soon, but I look forward to hanging out with you again very soon. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Jason Quitt, everybody, stepping in tonight for David Icke, and it just turned out to be the best conversation of the year. Jason Quitt. Follow Jason on Twitter, Jason_Quitt. That's Quitt with 2 T's. And he just posted up the cover of his new book with the cover art by our very own Eric Stitt. You got to go and check that out. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2019 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, it's the Q Army. Until then, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.